Hello, viewers. Well, Gamescom 2019 will soon be upon us. And like we did at E3, we'll be previewing all the new racing games we expect to see at the show and having a bit of a chat about the reflection on the E3 content as well. Of course, I'm joined today by Kevin.
Hello.
And of course, we'll be discussing together what we expect to see at the show and some of what we sort of seen and things that we think are being taken forward. But there is one big new announcement that's expected at Gamescom 2019. That's the new Need for Speed. So, Kevin, tell us what news and rumours we have so far.
Yeah, so last week we had a listing on a Austrian website for Need for Speed Heat, which is the rumored title. We're not quite sure whether this is going to be genuine, but we expect to see this new Need for Speed at Gamescom in a few days' time, really. So there could be some sort of weight to this rumor. So it was listed on this Austrian website. It's like a game website. It wasn't on there for long because it was taken off. And that's about it. There was some box art to go with it, which was definitely fan made. We know that for a fact. But it was just interesting to see the name Need for Speed Heat, which could give a sort of clue as to the direction of what this new Need for Speed could be, if indeed that name is true. But there's big sort of doubts over that. We know very little at the moment for the new Need for Speed. Of course, we did expect it in June, didn't we, for E3? It didn't appear. So, of course, it does need a grand showing on a grand scale. So what better place than Gamescom to sort of unleash the new Need for Speed? It has to come back strong, doesn't it? Because we've had many largely this generation of Need for Speed titles have been very underwhelming, haven't they, to say the least?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Need for Speed we've talked about this many times, but it's really a brand that's lost its way in recent times. And perhaps we could make a separate chat about that at some point because Need for Speed has been on a journey over the years. And they're using Gamescom rather than E3 to reveal the game, which is quite an unusual step. What does that say? Does that tell you that the brand is more popular in Europe? I don't know. It's strange for EA to do that rather than use E3, which always seems like a bigger platform. Or
Yep.
is game development behind and they didn't have a build ready to be shown at E3? So I've had
Quite
to
possible.
develop it more and improve it. Perhaps they
Yep.
found a problem with it. Um, I'm not excited about it right now. I'm not
Mm.
excited about it. I think Need for Speed 2015, we were excited. There was new tech. It looked stunning.
Oh, it looked
Uh,
amazing, didn't it? Those reflections. I mean, wow. That game is up there with the best looking racing games
yeah,
this gen.
yeah. They were saying all the right things, all the
Yeah.
things they wanted to incorporate. And then we had obviously no manual gears, no steering wheel
Hmm.
compatibility, no cockpit cam. Just three
Yeah.
things which you'd expect to have in Need for Speed that actually were in, well, not the steering wheel compatible, well, actually steering wheel compatibility, well, that was in the PlayStation version in 95, which was compatible with, had all three things. So
Yeah.
it was strange not to have what you consider to be critical additions, besides, of course, the game had fundamental flaws.
Yeah.
So the brand is in trouble. They need to rediscover the brand. I know, again, I've mentioned this, a lot of people mentioned Need for Speed Underground. I wasn't a massive fan of Underground 2 because I know it had some major bugs in it. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's another thing entirely. We'll wait and see. Need for Speed, then, that's going to be one of the big ones of Gamescom. Of course, another game we should move on to is one we've covered quite a bit of recently. There's going to be a new build of WRC 8, which is going to be just about the final build of the game being shown there before the final release version. So it's going to be quite near to release, and it's going to be good for us to go through, see the game. Perhaps we might see some footage of it on console, but also just to see the game taking steps forward visually as they start to really polish it and bring it all together in the next few weeks. Again, we'll have much more in the way of details on the career mode and a lot of other modes and aspects within there that you guys might not be aware of. And I hope you've been enjoying the WRC content. We certainly had a lot on the channel. It's been fun to produce as well as sort of show off the game running as well. So far, so good. There's still a lot to be done on it. I mean, they're working hard. You always look at these games sometimes and you think, I hope they manage to bring it all together in time because they have a lot to do. It's a big scale product, but it does seem to
Mm.
be coming together.
It is, like you say, it is a big scale project. I mean, they've taken an extra year development, and you've certainly seen that, haven't you, with the previews? We have like dynamic weather and things. We have environments that are really impressive. new physics, new tire model, etc., etc. So there's a lot they are working on, and we've seen it really with the transition from 6 to 7 as well. They seem to add or tweak every sort of element of that game. So it was a massive step up from 6 to 7, wasn't it? And the fact that it's taken an extra year, we expect a bigger step up. And so far, from what we've seen so far, it looks like they're making that step. But it'd be interesting to see where it goes for next gen, because it really sort of will unlock the potential of that game. Because at the moment, you feel maybe it just needs that little boost of power just to really make their sort of vision come true.
Yeah, certainly polish, and we'll see how it all comes together. So, new build of WRC at Gamescom. That's going to be quite interesting to see how that develops. Elsewhere at Gamescom, I expect we'll have a final version of Wreckfest on the consoles.
Can you believe you're saying that after all these years?
Do you know, I've been covering it since 2013.
Yeah.
So
just a lifetime ago in the game.
It's a lifetime ago. And, in actual fact, I loved it when they had those first 3 tracks. Then they changed the handling and the look and the feel, and it lost me. And it never got me back again, honestly. I don't know. I just was never as keen on it again after that.
And I first jumped on, and I was expecting somewhere between simulation and something more accessible, like assisted sim. But I was surprised just how simulation focused it was. Because I've enjoyed games such as Destruction Derby in the past, which weren't exactly massively simulation, shall we say.
No.
But jumping onto Wreckfest for the very first time really impressed me. The simulation that they're going after, there really is weight to the cars. There's a real sense of sort of authenticity to it, which I wasn't necessarily expecting, given the sort of chaotic nature of the genre.
That's right. They really had a good physics model there. Lots of car damage. From the off, amazing damage models. It's been one that we've looked forward to for a long time, and it'll be just good to get it out. But there's a part of you that feels like it's an old game in a way now. It feels strange. It's been out on the PC, and I don't know what they're going to end up with in terms of frame rate on the console version. Probably exactly. 30 FPS as well.
Yeah.
And
a game like this, you really need sort of cross-generational support. You need to have this game on the PS5 and the next Xbox, because you want to unlock its full potential. Imagine a 60 frames with massive debris spraying everywhere on a next gen console. Wouldn't that be incredible? Because I just feel that they won't be able to do that on the current gen, will they?
I mean, we're so close to next gen now, and you often find that you find games come out late in a generation's life that you think, I wish they got held them onto the next gen so we could have had it at 60 and with a bit more polish. But either way, Wreckfest should be shown. Elsewhere at the show, a new version of Grid, which is coming out in October. Expect to see some more gameplay on that, and Grid Autosport on Nintendo Switch, which had the potential to run it well. I've been playing on my Nintendo Switch quite a bit recently. I've got a Nintendo Switch now to cover the Switch games. We're going to have a fair selection of Switch content coming to the channel. Actually, it's become the handheld of driving game fans. And potentially this could be a nice little game to play on the go. So haven't seen anything of it yet, but both the games are expected to be shown at Gamescom, and I think Grid's got to go some in getting more momentum around it at the moment. I think at the moment it's not getting the momentum from the fans at the moment. I think it's going to be important to see what they show at Gamescom. But either way, Grid is going to be there. Just moving on to Truck Driver will also be there as well. Truck Driver for PS4. We showed a bit of that on the channel a few weeks ago. And
it's interesting, isn't it? A truck driving game on the consoles. We had the truck racing game recently, and now we're going to have truck driving. So it's like a mini sort of scaled down Euro Truck Simulator, isn't it, for console owners, which we've been sort of sorely needing for many years now. So we've been looking with sort of green eyes at the PC market with a Euro Truck and American Truck more recently. So it's really nice to see that there is going to be a game coming to the console for truck drivers or wannabe drivers. But it is scaled down. You have to sort of align your expectations. It is an indie studio, so of course the resources won't be massive. But if you can just tell yourself that it's a scaled down version of a Euro Truck or so, then you can have some fun with it, but you have to sort of keep your expectations tempered.
Absolutely. And the line that will irritate PC truck driver fans is it's the best truck driving game on console. So, so
Well,
whatever happens,
the
they've got
only, did you say?
exactly the best. So truck driver, you know what? Again, like you said, it's a scaled down version. It's getting people
Mm,
into it, giving
yeah.
people an
It's
idea of what
something they
it's
could
about.
build on, isn't it? Should
Yeah,
they sell enough copies, they could possibly build on it, and then we could have something more substantial, which
yeah,
is what we need on the consoles. Who
yes,
knows though? You never know. SCS Software could release American Truck or Euro Truck on next gen consoles if the power is there, which I'm sure it will be. So it's an option for them because assuming there's a big enough market, that's I guess the problem because there's a huge market on PC, isn't there, for truck
oh,
driving?
huge.
It's
Yeah,
massive, it really is.
it amazes me how big it is,
Mm.
and I think. With truck driver, that's why I'm not used to playing truck driver games. I mentioned it on the video. I'm not pretending to be an expert on this, but I enjoyed what I played. It was all pretty logical. It was pretty hard reverse driving with just the one mirror because you couldn't
Oh
turn your
goodness.
head when using the wheel.
Yep.
That made reversing a little bit more difficult. But other than that, it was good fun to play. It's a pretty relaxing experience.
Yeah.
Uh, the hour went quite quickly,
Mm.
and I look forward to exploring
Games.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah,
games like that you just sort of put on Spotify and let your music roll and you just sort of chill out with it. It's one of those games, a bit like fishing games and things like that. You wouldn't necessarily think, well, how can people get fun out of this? It's not really, it's more to do with just chilling out and just putting your music on and just having a nice sort of quiet hour or so, just to some good chilling gaming time.
that's right. So truck driver again. Looking forward to seeing how that develops. And next we have Kartcraft. We've been seeing a fair bit of that on the PC, but nothing on console. So it'll be interesting to see a new karting game for console to see how well it converts. I'm expecting again 30 FPS in terms of the frame rate. But again, nothing on that yet. Moving swiftly on, Pacer. Again, there was a clip of a new circuit shown at E3. It's where my E3 mind is. I'm always thinking about what was at E3. Pacer revealed a new circuit, and that's coming along. Graphically and design-wise, it's stunning.
Yeah,
Again, jury's still out in terms of handling. I don't think it's going to meet the sweet spot in terms of handling. I just don't
yeah.
think that based on what I've played. I don't think they've got it there. So
Has the name grown on you at all? The name Pacer
no, not
still
really.
hasn't really. No,
No, it doesn't grow on me. I don't like the name. It doesn't capture
no.
me. I think Formula Fusion was an amazing name for
Yeah,
it, and it worked so well. That was a real brand for it. I just don't like that name, and I don't think it catches anybody. And when you mention Pacer, it just doesn't grab anything. Formula Fusion, you get a image in your mind, and it just doesn't work for me. But that's on the name level. Main problem for me is going to be the handling.
hmm
Um, you know, I just don't know where they're going to find that balance, and that's going to be critical for them in terms of fostering a sort of long-term community. Overpass will be back as well. Is likely to be shown, so we're going to see a new build on that. Obviously, we showed a very, well, I say very short. We showed a reasonably comprehensive video of it actually from E3 coverage. There's still a long way to go in the game's development at the moment. It has to be said, and got a lot of good feedback from those of you who commented on the video. So big thanks to all of you who commented on the video. It's got great potential, but they still need to work a lot in terms of physics, audio, and just various other elements. Physics and audio are the two key areas where they just need to get it just right, basically. Otherwise, you've got a car that sounds like a buzzing bee, and physics that seem a little bit rigid at the moment. Not as subtle as natural as perhaps
yeah.
they should be.
hmm
But it has
Yeah.
good potential. That game,
Yeah,
I
it's
like that.
about introducing that sort of fluency, isn't it, in the physics, and that game could certainly transform. But it is early days still with the game, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that could come out and really do some good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new market, like the truck driver. I mean, this is the thing, games like Overpass, games like Truck Driver, games like Truck Racing that were released recently. You
Yeah.
know, these are new. People want originality. Hey, here's some originality. If you like it, support it. If you support it, better ones will come. In the future, they'll make sequels that get better and better. If you don't support it, well, you'll be stuck with what else you get. And I think people do get wedged into a place where they support one game or one brand, and they expect everything to be as visually as good as Forza Horizon. It's not possible.
Which is just not the way it works, is it?
No.
I mean, a lot of these games we've talked about, I mean, most people would never have heard of these development teams, so they are pretty small and they do need support. So with support, like you say, Alan, things can grow and reinvest that money into the product, and sure enough, things get better. But like you say, many people get behind the bigger companies, and I just wish more people would get behind the small indie companies, and we certainly would be benefiting then from a wider sort of range of racing titles, because they are taking risks here with truck racing and Overpass game, or physics-based games. There are risks here, and I feel that they should be rewarded with some level of support to sustain them for future developments.
They need to foster their own little communities. There's no doubt about that amongst the giant games. I often say to people, on video, a lot of people are, there's very much this WRC 8 versus Dirt Rally 2 thing that goes on. And I say to people that you can own both games, you don't need to own one and not the other. It's okay to own both games. There is this sort of battle, isn't there?
I mean, every game, if you've got like 2 or 3 rival games, every game is going to offer something different. Some games will do one area better than the other. The other one will do something else better than the previous one. So, there's always, if you can, try to own as many as possible. If you wait for a sale or whatever, it's always good to sort of extract elements that you like from each game, and then to build up your perfect game or whatever. Or you could provide feedback. The more games you play, it builds up a nice sort of arsenal of knowledge. So you can say to the developer, this needs this, and blah blah blah. And for your own entertainment, you can make up your sort of perfect game from various elements of certain titles. And it's just nice to play a wide range of games. It just makes you more knowledgeable, and you can appreciate these games more. You can appreciate when companies take risks. You can appreciate when they have certain features that may have been not, that are out of the ordinary, or they're trying to take a risk here or there. So it's good to see such a broad range of titles that we've seen this generation. Particularly in the last couple of years or so. We've had some really good indie titles a few years back with Mantis Burn, Tabletop Racing, games like that. Those games really sort of stick in my memory as some of the most fun games I've played this generation, along with the bigger titles such as Project Cars, GT Sports, etc. I enjoy the indie titles just as much as the bigger titles, but you've got to tamper your expectations again, haven't you? Because you're not going to get a product that has massive investment, that's not going to be perhaps as polished as the mass market may expect it to be. So you can enjoy all these games, you really can, if you sort of...
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I think when we play a lot of racing games, therefore we have a lot of reference to rate things against. And when people have expectations, some people, they play 1 or 2 racing games a year, and so they think everything should look as good at that, or be as good as that, or be as perfect as that. And there is constant dissatisfaction, it feels like, in so many comments these days on so many games. And don't get me wrong, I agree to an extent. I mean, there's various things on these games and technologies where we'd all like to see them better. Having said that, I do see the other side. I meet the developers, I see why certain technology is where it is, I see why certain games companies have got better technology than others. And if you've got more money, more connections, then you've got more investment, and that means your tech is maybe 1 or 2 years ahead of everybody else's. It's a constant race for improvement. However, when you do see these unique little titles, like a couple of years ago, I was a big fan of Redout. I love Redout. Redout. Redout is one of my favourite games on this generation. It may even be, it's up there in my top 5. Racing games of this generation. So and yet so many people out there, so many of you listening to this, won't have played Redout. It's like, it's not my type of game, there's no interest, and that's why. But at the same time, people say, we want a new Wipeout. Well, Redout's essentially a new Wipeout. I mean, it really is stunning. The in-house audio and music. It's the best of the generation. It's the best we've had since F-Zero GX in that sort of genre. So, you got to support some of these titles, even if they're not perfect. I mean, another one we've got coming out here is Mud Runner 2. And again, Mud Runner fostered a small community which grew and grew and grew, and now the investment technology's improved, and Mud Runner 2 will take it further. And then Mud Runner 3 will come out in 3 years' time or so, and then that will take everything even further forward. So Mud Runner 2 is expected to possibly be shown. I don't know if that's going to be behind closed doors or not. Rise, Race to the Future, is also being shown, of course, on what's it being shown on? PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It's already out on Switch, isn't it? So it must be PS4 and Xbox One. And besides that, I think that's the core racing games that's being shown that I've sort of come up with. Do you have anything else, Kevin, that you think might be of interest at the show? Anything that's caught your eye that you think might be there that we haven't covered?
We have shock rods from, I believe this is the Carmageddon developer.
Yep.
Stainless Games, I think it is. I believe that could be there. Who knows? I'm just sort of guessing at the moment, looking at the upcoming titles this year.
Yep.
Anti-Graviator.
It was at EGX earlier this year, so yeah, it could be EGX Rezzed. Right,
okay. We could see Anti-Graviator again, which is another futuristic race. So we seem to be having a lot of futuristic races in the last couple of years. So it's quite a saturated market at the moment. But,
well, it's not so much that. It's that they release all at the same time when they release. I mean, you're going to have Anti-Graviator and Pacer releasing at virtually the same time. But then you'll have nothing for 4 years. So there's not many released in that genre. I mean, on PS4, this is the third racing game this generation that's futuristic like this. I mean, you've had Wipeout and you've had Redout, but there's not really anything else that's been released this generation on that futuristic genre. I mean, Nintendo have all but forgotten about F-Zero, which is a bit of a shame. Great brand there. And as a genre, it's not been supported by a AAA publisher. No AAA publishers are supporting that sort of development. So, I mean, it was nice to see how the graphics on Wipeout are made, though I personally didn't like the handling or the gameplay, so it didn't interest me. But it is impressive in VR. Very impressive in VR. There's no doubt it is one of the most impressive games on the PSVR. But besides that, another no-show potentially is GTR 3. It's almost becoming sort of a, what do you call it? Phantomware or something. GTR 3 is completely fallen off the radar now, and I don't know what's going on with that. The thing is that there was an event earlier this year where apparently they did a software tech demonstration around March. It was mentioned on Twitter, I saw somewhere, and that was it. It's just gone completely quiet. So,
which is very worrying, isn't it? I mean, we're coming up towards the latter stages of the year, if you like, because if you want something released before the end of the year, you've got to sort of really showcase it now, really, haven't you? Like August, Gamescom month. You've really got to let us know it's still coming.
Yeah, I mean, Gamescom is the perfect time of year because it's European market. GTR 3 appeals very much to the European market, so it's a very important show. If it's not there, it won't be out this year. That's and then if it's not out this year, is there any point releasing it this gen? I really feel that if you've got developments that are nearing completion, put them out, make your money back. But if you're somewhere in the midst of it all, isn't it worth saying, hey, we're going to just extend the vision and get a game out early on the next gen? Sure, there's not as many consoles that are going to be in the market, but you're there early on. There's not as many games to choose from either. So you can get in there very early and establish yourself with your tech on the new systems. Yeah, having said that, PlayStation has just passed 100 million sold. So
yeah, very true. But like you say, with sim racing games on a console, there'd be an ongoing platform, wouldn't it? So if you get yourself in early for next gen, then you certainly can build up a nice lead against rivals such as Assetto Corsa, which we expect to see on next gen as well. So. Yeah, who knows what's going to happen with this?
You know what? It's only going to get better for racing gamers. I mean, next gen you're going to have a lot more memory, and you're going to have much better physics. a lot more in the way of weather conditions, much improved AI. So it's not just about the graphics. Graphics are going to improve, yes, but it's all of the fundamentals that make what a race what it is. More space for audio. It's all going to improve next gen, and so it's going to
Hopefully.
hopefully, providing the consoles are not underpowered like they were this
Yeah.
gen, relatively speaking, we could end up with something very special. I hope that they aim high with these new consoles. I really do. I hope they do aim for a big new gen. That
On the
we
subject
take it forward. Yeah.
of new consoles, I mean, what are we expecting to see in regards to new consoles at Gamescom?
I'm not expecting anything. However, Sony,
Mm.
they might make an announcement of their
I mean,
new
I
tech
think
officially.
they have to soon, don't they? I mean, Xbox already has sort of half shown their hand, if you like. So Sony has to come back with something at some point this year, you'd imagine.
But they don't need to. I mean, they don't need to show anything to the general public. They just need to have uh, tech shows for developers, really. I mean, right now, um, they don't want to slow down sales of PS4 for Christmas. So for them, there's no rush.
Would you wait until next year then to
uh,
reveal?
I think for Sony, what's going to happen? What can they show you? Codename new super tech
Yeah.
CPU. It's going to do this and this and this, and it's going to do this and this. And they show their hand on everything they've got. For what? Even just all they need to do is show a logo, right?
Oh yeah,
And it
that's
would
what I'm
excite.
saying.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it
Just
might just
like
be
that.
that. I remember
Yeah.
last time they did this sort of blurry look at the console or something. So I it might be something. It might
Just
be
to
a little
acknowledge it exists is what
acknowledge
I'm.
it's coming.
Yeah.
The next gen is coming. You
That's
know,
right.
and then next year, obviously E3 potentially. I don't know if
Wow.
Sony are going to celebrate E3, but if not Gamescom next year, one of them is going to
Okay.
get a major announcement blowout with the first ever footage and tech examples of these consoles in action, and
Mm.
then we start to
I'm
find out the launch lineup.
I'm hoping, yeah, exactly. I'm hoping to actually see the launch lineup of games rather than sort of a duck in a floating pool of water, for example, like
Mm.
tech demos. I mean, yeah, they're cool and all, and they can impress, but ultimately we want to see what a game looks like running on these new generation
They
consoles.
actually had many ducks in the end. They
They
showed one
did,
duck
didn't they?
at
Because it was
first. Yeah,
it was the PS2 that had a single duck, wasn't it? And then the
yeah,
PS3 they sort of they hundreds of ducks, wasn't it? Just to
yeah,
show the yeah. I'd like to
yeah.
see a dinosaur
They don't
demo
do that
maybe.
anymore. I remember they did one like that for Mario on the GameCube, and they had hundreds of Marios all running around everywhere. And thinking that's one of the best demos I've ever seen, but they don't do that anymore, really, which is a bit of a shame because I really would love to see what they could do when they muck around. I love a good
I
tech
think
demo.
things are more serious, I think, these days. So you might see something on ray tracing or such, reflections and stuff. I mean, anything that's more sort of serious, I guess, would be more interesting to people rather than a gimmicky sort of showcase, I suppose.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, by the end of the year, I would expect, or at least beginning of next year, all the developers that need to have them will have dev kits because development has to begin at least a year, 18 months before the console's released. It's
Yeah,
going to take, I mean, if even longer than that, really, because they've got to create the R&D for the graphics engines, and you know, it's a big job. I mean,
mm,
I know it's moving up from what we currently have, but you've got to have higher resolution textures. You've got to have a different work processes in case some things are going to take longer to make. So structurally, if you're using higher level of LODs or higher level of LODs for the environment, does that mean that it's going to take longer to make some games, or does it just mean you use a higher LOD that you've already made for these games? So, we'll wait and see. But I really look forward to what companies like Polyphony can do with Gran Turismo with new tech. I mean, they've always pushed the tech further than anyone. And if we do
yeah.
get a Gran Turismo 7 at launch with, 1,000 cars and everything you wanted from GT, well, that would just blow the doors off for Sony. And then it depends what else they've got. But also, I think people are going to be really interested to see the backward compatibility and what it does to your PS 4 games.
Yeah.
Are they all going to suddenly, do they get a resolution bump to 4K? Do they get a frame rate bump? Does
They'll
it
certainly get a loading time bump, that's for sure.
loading time, no loading times at all, frankly, on a lot of these games.
Yeah.
And,
Which is
you know,
amazing on its own,
yeah,
isn't it? I mean, just
yeah.
to port your collection across just for no loading times is a massive, massive selling point, isn't it? I
Yeah.
mean, and VR games as well. Your PSVR is backwards compatible, as we understand it. So we're going to see a lot less jaggies. You know, the jump between the
That's going to be
standard
amazing.
PS and the Pro
Yeah.
was good on some games. So imagine PS5 running PlayStation VR. It should be majorly different, as long as the supporting patches for it, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think VR is going to take a big step forward on the next generation. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it's gone as
That's a whole
far as it can go.
that's a whole world that's just waiting to be unlocked, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's rumors of a very cheap price point, for example, which I think $250 I've been reading somewhere. So, I mean, goodness me, can you imagine if it retailed for £300 or £250? I mean, a lot of people will jump on that. Given there should be a strong launch lineup of PlayStation VR 2 games, if you like. So I just think that once people see the games, we're talking proper comprehensive games now, 20, 30 hours game time. We're talking full experiences. Once people understand that there's lots of those available, I think people will jump aboard. And once they jump aboard, it's going to be hard for a lot of people then to go back to 2D screens, because I mean, I was playing Resident Evil 7 exclusively on the PlayStation VR, and
Yeah.
I went back to 2D version, and I just couldn't play it, Alan. It was just horrible. It was like,
Yeah.
this is not even 1/10 of it, as
No,
exciting, tense as the atmosphere. You just don't get any of that.
no.
With VR,
Yeah.
you're also getting the 3D audio as well, which adds massively to the experience.
Yeah.
I mean, people with surround sound will attest to that, but not many of us actually have surround sound. But there's such an intensity to the VR experience that once you go and experience it, it's very hard to go back to 2D. So 2D can only get so good, can't it? Once we hit sort of 8K maybe screens, what's the next leap? I think the next leap is probably going to be some sort of virtual reality, isn't it? To really
You
sort
got
of
VR, AR, so it's
AR.
coming
Yeah.
to your living room.
AR is awesome. Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the next stage. But I think right now it's resolution, getting it to the 8K over the course of the next 20 years, and then and really taking VR forward a long way. They
Yeah.
think there's going to be big steps forward in tech in the next 10 years, extra big steps forward. So that's all going to come. And I think when you like VR racing, I know racing gamers bang on about it all the time, and it does get a bit frustrating sometimes. No VR, no buy business all the time. But I mean, I'm well aware that it adds a lot. It's incredible playing some of these games in VR. Absolutely amazing. But when I was playing that IndyCar on Project Cars 2 launch in VR with the motion rig, it was amazing. You got out, you're so intense, it was so brilliant to play and compete with other people. But one has to recognize that right now VR is nothing in terms of market share. When you're making a video game and you're making it for PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and Switch, well, it's like 1% of one of your 4 core audiences. It's just nothing in the scheme of things. And you say, right, shall we put that money into improving our graphics and physics technology, or put that money into a VR department? And I think right now it's difficult for developers to justify that until the VR is a bit more mass market. So I can see both sides, but next gen, I think VR is going to take big steps forward. And once we can actually play, I want to play F1 with VR. I want to play Gran Turismo races online with VR. But I also need a step forward in resolution on the whole resolution of the screens as well. They need to be doubled at least. So it's a combination of in-game anti-aliasing and various quality improvements there, but also and texture improvements, but also with the actual display itself, and of course going wireless and making it comfortable. And I just kind of wish Sony would release as well a higher quality version where you could pay more, you could choose to pay more, because a lot of us would happily pay a little bit more to have a little bit more quality, rather than have something that's relatively
I
plasticky.
can
And it
I can
is.
see something. with a mid-gen console refresh, I could see something like a Mark II PlayStation VR 2 headset coming out to really get the best out of that hardware. Assuming we're going to get another mid-console refresh, which I'm expecting at this point. But they can certainly do that and offer, like you say, a premium experience for those that want to pay that premium price.
Yeah. So I think it's a good one to look forward to. But just sticking with Gamescom, it's if Sony do an announcement, be nice. But I can't see. I don't think they're going to reveal the logo of the system. I don't think that will be revealed until next summer. And I think that right now, if they do reveal anything, it will be a bit more in the way of technology that you can look forward to, putting people's minds at ease that the next gen is going to really blow them away. And I do feel backward compatibility is something that Sony might want to bang on about, because they've sold 100 million PlayStation 4s. People don't want to lose their investments.
No,
they move to the new console.
That's right.
So that is that. But other than that, though, Kevin, I think we've covered a lot of the core racing games going to be at Gamescom in a couple of weeks. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments. What are you expecting to see? What are you most looking forward to seeing on the channel as well? Do subscribe, like the video. It supports what we do. And do give us some feedback on this. If you've watched it to the end, let us know. Do let us know. Any feedback.
Well done as well. Well done for watching to the end if you did.
Well done, exactly.
It'd be a very small percentage that has.
Exactly. I know, it's like it is so small, isn't it? Alas, of YouTube, it's an audience of people that just can't watch a video for more than 15 seconds before skipping into it or moving to the next video. It's a funny old world. So competitive. But no, thanks for watching. And that's it from us for now. We'll get on with some other work. Lots more content on the channel, and we cover what we can during Gamescom as well. And there'll be more from us very soon. Thanks for watching today, viewers. I hope you enjoyed the video, and do like and subscribe. It supports what we do. You can go to the website directly above me here, or check out a couple of other videos on the channel. Perhaps things you're interested in terms of racing games, whether it be new or retro. It's all there. Check them out.